This is a world ruled by the strongest swordsmen and wizards. Right now, there is a massive war going on, as the Demon Queen has challenged all races. The Demon Queen has managed to defeat all races except the human race. But humanity has been defeated. Thus, the strongest Demon Queen, Elizabeth, became the only ruler of the world. Meanwhile, in the capital of the human race, a human monk warns Elizabeth that a hero will appear who will save all of humanity and defeat Elizabeth once and for all. He is kicked by the Prince of Humanity, viz. Malfoy, who tells him to be quiet and prepares to kill him. But Elizabeth herself appears and tells Malfoy to stop. She asks her human judge about the future and her overthrow and tells him to tell him more, or else she will make him feel agony worse than death. Barlow explains that there is a hero who can retrieve the legendary sword, and it will mean the end of demon rule. This stone is the same stone that was inserted into the stone platform in the main hall. Elizabeth wonders if the story is true. She decides to wait for the hero in her throne room. Meanwhile, a year of Elizabeth's reign passes, and then a second, third quarter, and finally the reign is now 15 years old. Paul's absolute message of the Demon Queen. All the old and unequal rules between the frames were abolished, and everyone was able to live together as equals. There were no more conflicts. Everyone could live and develop in peace, and soon the continent of Valor entered a period of unprecedented prosperity. An alliance against the legendary heroes appeared, which strongly opposed the arrival of the so-called heroes, fearing that the fragile peace would be destroyed. Meanwhile, in Elizabeth's castle, a council of all the races, elves, dwarves, humans, demons, and orcs, gathers in the style of the human race. Elizabeth inquires about a legendary hero, and all report that they have found no such thing. The counselors whisper among themselves, discussing how they could defeat a legendary warrior, and that it's all Barlow's fault for starting this nonsense. A representative of the elves declares that they must kill this hero so that nothing will interfere with the Queen's rule. Meanwhile, Bishop Barlow, the current president of the Demon Queen's fan club and president of the Legendary Heroes Association, who is close to the imperial family, walks in, saying that he is against heroes and that he supports the Demon Queen's rule. The Queen throws him back with magical power and grabs him in a magical fist, wondering when the hero will appear. Malfoy claims that it's foolish to take the bishop's word for it, and that the new study is almost ready. But suddenly, the Queen hits Malfoy with her tail and tells him to disappear, and throws the bishop into the wall at the same time, stating that she is the Queen who has reached the highest level of this world and dominates it, and that she is waiting for a hero to come and fight her. The Queen wonders where the hero is hiding and decides to pull out the sword Excalibur herself to find the hero. Everyone else is enveloped by the Queen's magical energy, which repels them. They wonder if the Queen is really going to pull out the sword and get the answer to their question. The Queen succeeds in pulling out the sword. Taking the sword in hand, the Queen sees a vision in which the sword shows her the way to the legendary hero across seas and sand. She sees a small house with a barn on a small plot of land. The Queen finally sees where he is hiding and triggers teleportation. Meanwhile, in the newcomer village, the main character is farming. His name is Leping, and he used to be an ordinary office worker living a boring life. He had no interest in anime or gaming. His only joy in life was watching videos on his way to work. While watching the usual videos, Leping dreams of growing vegetables and cooking delicious food. His thought comes true, and he finds himself in a medieval world. Under the guidance of a system for beginners, he gradually learns survival skills. And despite all the dangers, he decides to stay here. His body is much healthier than when he worked in the office. The system notifies the protagonist that his goal is to be trained, to fulfill all the conditions, to leave the village of newcomers and go on a real adventure. But the protagonist refuses to leave the village because he is happy here. The system tells the player that after leaving the village, he will meet a lot of people. From them, he will be able to learn various skills of magic and sword, and tells him that his main mission is to become a legendary hero and kill the demon queen. But the protagonist once again refuses to leave the village, assuring that he does not want bloodshed and expresses his desire to stay in the village. The system informs him that the main mission is to kill the demon queen and asks him to start his adventure. The system keeps urging the hero to leave the village and go on an adventure, but the hero ignores it, saying that his main dream is to stay in the village and live like this forever. He is guarded by a time barrier that completely hides the newcomer's village for security purposes. Inside it, the days last more than 24 hours, allowing him to do what he likes: hunting, farming, crafting, and meditation. By trading points earned for quests, he built his perfect farmhouse, until one day, the system suddenly broke down and disappeared. Meanwhile, the protagonist is working on the farm as suddenly red lights appear in the sky and the clouds become dark. The demon queen appears from them and finds the protagonist. The hero runs to the dried fish and sausages so they don't spoil. Meanwhile, a mechanical pet dog named Wankai discovers a threat in the queen's video looming over the land. The queen decides to test the hero's strength and launches a magic sword. The sword falls right into his hands, and the protagonist wonders how it got right into his hands. The queen is not happy that the sword recognized him as its master and wonders if he can hide his true power. The queen casts an abyss attack spell and attacks. The protagonist decides to surrender and heads for the house, remembering that the system said that the hero's meeting with the queen was inevitable. The hero turns back to take one last look at the world and enters his house. The queen finds this outrageous, as in his face, she saw a mockery of herself. Meanwhile, the dog analyzes her attack and goes into battle mode and launches missiles to counterattack. The queen mockingly says that the hero is only relying on a high-level magical device with consciousness and doesn't dare to go out himself. She unleashes apocalypse magic, but this time the dog manages to cancel her attack. The queen makes another attack, launching a large quantum ball which disappears in the same second. She can't believe her eyes, as her divine magic was destroyed by this dog. The queen goes down to the dog and starts a fight with it, using her higher demonic form. The protagonist falls asleep in his bed preparing to die, as he suddenly discovers that he is still alive. He wonders if the demon queen is still outside waiting for him and decides to check. As he suddenly sees the queen taking the cyborg dog by the head in his last breath and breaking it, the queen heads towards the protagonist to kill him, but the MC resists, insisting on talking first. Suddenly, she collapses from exhaustion, and all the fabric that was demonic magic disappears, leaving her unclothed. The next day, the queen wakes up handcuffed and wearing only a t-shirt on her bed. She realizes she has lost and wonders why the hero did not kill but tied her hands to demonstrate her power. She claims she underestimated him. Lepin enters the room with food and offers to talk to her. In Elizabeth's eyes, it looked like he was mocking her by underestimating her strength. And to survive, she will have to follow all his orders. However, these are just her thoughts, and the hero uncuffs her. The queen realizes that she is not in an advantageous position and decides to listen to him. Le Ping explains to the readers why he didn't kill the queen but spared her. In this world of swords and magic, it's only natural for her as a demon queen to have the skill of resurrection, and if he can convince her that he is not a threat, he will stay alive. The hero takes Van Kai and decides he's turned into a pile of garbage. The queen wants to recover using her magic and decides to deal with the protagonist once and for all. It turns out that the memory card was not destroyed, and the hero pulls it out of the body of the fallen pet. He opens the closet, revealing the presence of more of the same clone pets. The queen is shocked. The hero takes the dog and inserts the card into the dog. In Elizabeth's eyes, it looks as if the hero has once again defeated her with his cunning and sits down on the bed. Suddenly, she smells a sweet aroma. Turns out Le Ping cooked the food while she was unconscious, knowing that when she wakes up she will be hungry. The queen thinks she has reached a higher state and no longer needs food, but her stomach rumbles and she decides to try one of his dishes. She takes a bite of each portion and eats, eventually finishing the entire plate of dumplings and restoring her magical energy. As she swallows the last bite, she is plunged into bliss, and she becomes very spicy. The hero suggests she try rice porridge with century eggs and lean meat, as it will neutralize the spiciness and reduce the burning. In Elizabeth's eyes, it looks back with mockery and wonders why he first poisons with poison and then gives the antidote, considering this a game. She tastes the porridge and is transformed in her thoughts, as if she has gone to heaven, where she no longer cares about world domination or power struggles, thus reaching a new level.